So why don't we start real quick introductions? I'm Carolyn Goodrich, the ED or Executive Director and founder of our Impact International, and we are a nonprofit organization that's been organized in DC since 2015. So we're almost 10 years going strong. I'm happy that many of the artists have stayed with me through, and we're really doing well so far, and we'll keep going together. So let me just introduce some of the artists that are here, and then you guys can just say a quick hello. Hubert Jackson. Hubert, can you introduce yourself and just say where you're calling from? Hubert's my husband, just in case you guys didn't know. Go ahead, Hubert.
Excuse me. I'm Hubert Jackson. I'm living in Colonial Beach, Virginia, and I'm an artist.
And what's your medium?
Acrylic with a lot of objects and textures and found things that I stick in there.
Okay, thank you. Multimedia. Cool, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Joanne, yeah.
Hi, I'm a San Diego artist and I do art glass, fused glass, and I'm applying it to mixed media paintings so that the glass is just important as the painting behind it.
Wow, cool, cool. Thank you, Joanne. And Mario, quick
Uh,
hello.
yes, my name is Mario Fontana. I do a lot of digital art on an app called Paint 3D, and I try to use all different shapes, geometrical shapes, and then curves, and then functions, mathematical functions that I learned in engineering, and I superimpose them and color them and do. And somehow I get things that are very engaging and attractive, and I really like my results.
Good. Thank you, Mario. And Wendy, real quick hello. Now, really, many of the artists here are in the show. So you have a chance to give a quick hello. And then later, when we're actually looking at your work, you can then talk about your pieces. Okay, Wendy.
Yes, I'm Wendy, and I live in Craft, KRFT, and I live in Naples, Florida, and I use acrylic and do acrylic pours, and I've done stained glass and mosaics.
Thank you. And D'Andrea, she's sipping her coffee. Can you hear us, D'Andrea? You have to take yourself off mute. Yeah. Good.
Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. I am D'Andrea James Harris. I hail from Harlem, New York, from the Village, and I am a literary artist. And I'm aging. I'm in my 60s, and I think it's a funky thing.
Thank you, D'Andrea. Thank you very much. And Kai, how do I pronounce your name? Is it Ki or Kai? I see her name there. Kai, are you there? Okay, she might be away from her computer right now. Well, we're going to dive in, guys, because we've got a lot of work to go through, and I want everybody to have a good chance to talk about their pieces. Okay. So this is our official website. Can everybody see can everybody just raise your hand if I'm sharing the correct screen? Can you? Okay, great. Thank you. You can see our official web page, which is We the People 2025. So this starts out with the embedded gallery, right? And it has some of the videos attached to the exhibit, right? And here we have the different locations that the artists are showing their work, and of course the events, the descriptions, and so forth. And this was one of the this was at opening night in Colonial Beach, and one of the business owners came in and did an impromptu, I would say, interview with me about the show, and that was a very, very nice surprise. So let's get into. So when you first see the website like this, you just enter it, and then what I do is I click this for the full screen, right? And you can see here that we have a lot of artwork here, a lot of artwork. So let's start out. Let's start out here. And when you come to something, you could just click on it, and it'll come up closer and closer. You could, put your cursor and pull it back and so forth, so you can see. So we're going to start with Hubert Jackson. Hubert, can you tell us about this piece? Now, before you even start, let me click on the information for the piece, right? Once it's there, you see the little eye here? That gives you the information. So even after we have the talk, anybody who's interested in learning more about any of the pieces, we're not going to read it all, but at least you can see the size of the piece and the title, Robert Smalls and the Planter. And it's 60 inches by 40 inches, and it's acrylic mixed media. So Hubert, can you tell us more about this piece, the background of it, and what inspired you to paint this painting?
Yes, I can. This painting depicts Robert Smalls, who was born in South Carolina, in Beaufort, South Carolina, in the 1830s. His family occupied this house on Prince Street, and he was born in a building that was adjacent to the main house. As he was growing up, his mother really didn't want him to work in the field, so she took him out to see what life was like out on the plantation. And then at an early age, probably in his teens, they sent him to Charleston, South Carolina, and to learn how to become a seaman. So he learned all about the navigation skills and aboard this ship called the Planter. While he was there, he had the idea that at some point he wanted to free his family from slavery. So the crew members, they gained his trust, and at one point in his early 20s or late teens, he decided he was going to make his move and take this ship, was named the Planter, get all of his family and friends together, and put them aboard this ship and take them out of the Charleston Harbor and to where the Union had a blockade, and sail there with all his people there, which he did. And he knew all the signals and to get past the Confederate outposts. So he did in the early morning. He sailed out of Charleston Harbor with his family and friends and delivered this boat, which was a Confederate gunboat, to the Union blockade. And when he appeared when he was out of sight of the out of gun range of the Confederate guns, they took down the Confederate flag from the boat and hoisted up a white flag, which was a bed sheet that was brought on board by his wife, and it was like the flag of surrender. So when the Union Navy saw him approaching, they didn't understand what was going on, and when they saw the white flag, then they realized that don't shoot at this boat. So when he finally got to the Union blockade, he made a statement to the receiving officer. He said, "This is a boat that I'm delivering to you. It has munitions and supplies, and I'm delivering it to you." And to people below, they came up to the top side, and they were jubilant. They were dancing and singing because they knew that the days of slavery were over. He became an officer. He became a pilot for one of the Union's ships during the Civil War, And at one point, at the end of slavery, he became a congressman for the during Reconstruction for the state of South Carolina. I had an occasion to visit Beaufort, South Carolina in the mid '80s, and I was staying with a couple who was lived about 1 block from the house where he was born. So I took a walking tour around that area, and I learned a lot about Beaufort and a lot about the people who lived there. And after Robert became a congressman, he purchased the house that he was enslaved in and moved his family there. The lady who was his mistress at the time, she didn't understand that the house was not theirs anymore. And she went there, so he took her in and cared for her for the rest of her life. But this was Robert Smalls, and I'm showing Robert Smalls and the number of people on board were like 14 men, 5 women, and 3 children. So I'm showing these people as they were being transported out of Charleston Harbor on their way to freedom. So this is called Robert Smalls and the Planter. Okay.
I just wanted to unmute myself because I didn't want to have any background sounds. That's a big story. Wow, that's awesome. Now, did he get any kind of a award, monetary award from?
He was given a stipend. I forget how much it was, but it was enough to sustain him and his family. They were sent north and they got employment there, so they were actually working for salaries at this once they became free citizens.
Wow.
And he had enough money that he could purchase the house that he was enslaved in when he was born into slavery in 1839, I believe it was.
Wow. So you mentioned the mistress that didn't. She had dementia or something.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, she had some form of dementia, and she didn't realize that was not her house anymore. But he was kind enough to take her in and take care of her and let her live there for the rest of her life.
Wow, wow. That's very, very, very humanitarian of him, above and beyond that she was once his slaver and now he's caring for her. Wow. All right, let me open it up. Does anyone who's here on the call want to ask any questions or give any feedback to Hubert for his work in this exhibit? You could take yourselves off mute and just give some feedback, anything you want to ask about or comment on. Oh, Wendy,
Yeah,
your hand.
I was gonna ask, how do you feel about people in this country sometimes not voting? When once upon a time, a lot of people didn't even have the right to vote, and they had to understand whoever won.
Okay. The first time I voted, I was 18 years old, but I was too late to vote in the 1960 election. So the following election cycle was 1964, in which I cast my first ballot for Lyndon Johnson. And it was a big deal because as I was growing up, most people didn't vote, or they either couldn't vote or they just didn't vote because they didn't see the value in it. But I did, and I was happy to be able to participate in the voting process. I was like 20 years old or 21 or something like that. 1964.
All right, thank you so much for that.
Wow, and thank you, Mario, for that question. And I believe Wendy had a question. Wendy?
No, I don't have a question. What I want to say is this: This piece is spectacular, just amazing. And I appreciate you with all the work and all you've done, and you've opened my eyes to an historical event and some person, the planter, that I've never known about. So this is really an eye-opening for me, and I really appreciate your tremendous artwork.
I'm happy
All
to
your
share it with
artwork
you.
is,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. All your artwork that I've seen is always fantastic.
Wow. Thank you, Wendy, for those comments. And I just wanted also to point out that these objects that have been embedded in the piece, like these bullets, right, Hubert? These are actual bullets that you won and purchased on eBay after bidding on them, and these are authentic relics from the Civil War. So
Those are called mini balls, and there are collectors who would go around to the old sites where they had encampments, and they would find artifacts and put them online, put them on eBay. I would bid on things that I thought were relevant to the paintings that I was doing. So I would collect those things, a lot of tree bark from the locations where soldiers were buried and so forth. And I used pine bark and cedar bark. Cedar bark that represent where you see the water. That's cedar bark in those areas. That's silhouettes of some of the representing some of the people that were on board that planter. Also, kind of like my abstract figures that I use in a lot of my paintings. And in the upper right hand, you can see that red part up there. This is sailing out of the harbor, sailing past the
Confederacy?
Sumter. Fort Sumter is, and because when they sailed past Fort Sumter, Robert Smalls was piloting the boat, but they couldn't tell that he was a black man because he had his hat pulled down over his face, and he knew the hand signals to give so that they could let him by, and they didn't realize that he was actually taking the gunboat to deliver it to the Union Navy. But I was one of the people who was scheduled to go with him thought it was too dangerous, and he stayed behind. But 19 people actually made it out on that boat.
Wow, wow, wow. That was incredible. Wow. All right. Any other comments or questions about Robert Smalls? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hubert, for completing. This was the first painting done in 2024, right? 2024, 2025. You finished this in 2024. Oh,
Yeah.
2025, this year. Yeah, you finished it this year.
This year I finished it.
Yeah. And it's a huge piece. Yay. Oops, it backed up. All right. So, all right, if we don't have any other comments for you, Bert, let's continue on to the next artist. Let's go over to Mario. Mario, I'm gonna pull up your artwork, okay?
All right.
And I believe yours
It's
is
in there, yeah.
yeah. Yours
I
is
got
here.
that one and the one and two more. I just wanted to say that I really have to say this, that the inspiration for my work is that diversity. I am for all shapes and colors. Like you see, my artwork is colorful and it has all sorts of shapes. Uh, and The reason why I paint this way is because having grown up in countries like Brazil and Argentina with the Amazon and the incredible amount of different sorts of lives with different colors and shapes, I believe that each culture, no matter who they are, has an interesting way of living life. Even though we may differ how we punish crime or how we do different things, each culture has a rich meaningful way of living life of their own. And we should, if we can't accept other cultures, at least we should try to tolerate them. And I always quote the Greek philosophers who said, when they were asked who is what is a perfect man, they would say all men put together, all different colors, races, tall, small, fat, whatever, everybody put together, and that's why what leads me to inspirations to all my art.
Mhm, mhm. Very nice. I really enjoyed, as the name of the show is We the People, and this one isn't 100% abstract in that you can see the figures of eyes, and lips, right? And eyelashes and the circles and so forth. So do you want to let me just pull up the information that you have for this one? And this one is called Digital Art Cube, and then the number 9 ism, right? And
Yeah.
this 30 by 30, and you have, just as you just said, each individual on Earth has his or her own way of living.
Yeah, even within the same family, each one of us has
Oh,
our own way of doing things, our own way of speaking, our own way. I used to be an interpreter and translator. I found out
oh,
when I was interpreting, each individual member has his own way of saying things. It's
right,
interesting.
right, right. And so can you talk a little bit? We're just going into the technicality of it. Were
Uh,
can
I
you talk a little bit about the circles? Do they represent or do symbolize anything in particular?
uh, it's like I mean, they remind me of when I used to work at the Red Cross, the different tornado and the hurricanes, and
Oh,
and yeah, and to me that's like the saying, after the storm there's a calm. Well,
yeah.
we disturb nature and put CO2 in the atmosphere and cause global warming. What does the atmosphere do? It acts in an opposite and equal way, like Newton said, opposite and equal forces, and it creates a big storm, and then it
Hmm.
reestablishes balance again. So,
Hmm.
like, nothing in life is made to destroy us, but sometimes when an imbalance happens, there's a lot of turbulence, and nature acts to cancel it out, and in the process, you might get a lot of turbulence. But then there's a calm, and everything returns back to normal again. So it
Nice.
has a lot of meaning to me.
Yeah, I see. And you mentioned in your introduction that you have an engineering background. Which part of engineering?
Electrical engineering.
Ah, okay. Okay. Very good to know. Wow. So this is just very, very vibrant, and the colors are there. And then here, like I said, that one was a little more, but this one is totally, totally abstract. Is there any, let's see what you said here. This one is called 3D geometrical design, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything more you want to say about this one as opposed to that one? I
Uh,
know some of the colors are like alike,
Oh,
like the
the
background
only thing
color.
I want to say is I was experimenting with different styles,
Uh-huh.
making it look 3D.
Uh-huh.
Somehow I thought my new artwork, if there's another exhibition, I could send in some of my newest artwork I found on the same app, uh, like three-dimensional geometric shapes, and I put together some compositions and meaning to it, and it came out awesome. People are telling me it looks even better than this 3D thing because
Okay.
the shapes are already pre-made in
Mhm.
3D, and I just combined them and superimposed them, and it came out really cool. So, like, I was experimenting with doing something 3D on that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. And then the last one here,
Yeah.
This one
If,
also has the circle inside of it, it looks like a little bit.
yeah. And the thing is, if you know me well, if you look at all my art, a lot of it uses the colors red, black, and white, which I
Mm-hmm.
feel really comfortable with. I mean, the red is like the color of passion, the color of love, the color of a lot of good sentiments. The white is like peaceful, and the black is like darkness, you know. So like you mix the white, the black, and the red, and you have a lot of emotion in that picture. They flow, you know, the colors flow together perfectly.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to point out that I see here you have this beautiful blue, a very little bit of it, but you have it in three places, here at the bottom, here in this little dot, and here on the side. Is there any
Yeah,
significance of you placing them there?
I wasn't purposely. I think I left it there because I was experimenting with changing the colors around. But I felt comfortable with these three colors
Okay.
because they represent they're typical to represent a lot of feelings, good feelings like love, passion,
Uh-huh.
peace, with the white and the black, dark, as in the darkness of life, you know. So
Uh-huh.
I like these colors a lot. A lot of my paintings have them.
I wanted so everybody could see all three of them together. Thank you very much for that talk about your paintings. I'm going to open it up now to the members here who are on the call. Do you have any feedback or questions or comments for Mario about his three pieces? Anybody can take yourselves off of the off silence and then or mute, and then you can talk about what you see or how you interpret his works here, as two of them are very abstract and the other one is a little less abstract but still abstract. Any comments about his work here and his engineering background and how it pertains to the we the people? Everybody's quiet.
Yeah, do you hear me? Can
Yes,
Yeah,
we
everyone
can
hear
hear you.
me?
Yes.
Is it lagging?
Is it
Okay. Um, I'd like to comment on actually all of them, but the first one, I find it really, what's the word? Peculiar, but so um, I find it peculiar but very expressive. The first painting with the eyes,
Mhm.
peculiar because I would not have ever thought of the eyes and the swirl that's near the center of the painting. I would not have ever thought that this is someone who's thinking of global warming and of natural disasters and a tornado. But when he said it, I saw it all.
Yeah. Mhm.
And the idea that he worked with the Red Cross.
Mhm.
And so you've been, Mario, in places where there is a mixing pot of cultures. And in some of these places that you've been, there are people who are still very close to their indigenous cultures.
yes,
And yeah, still very close to their indigenous cultures. And um, I can see the devastation it must see when you're working with the Red Cross and they're coming in and they're being helped, you're going to them and they're being helped. I can see devastation, I can see bewilderment, I can see wonder. People are wondering, well, what's next? What are they going to do? I can see that now. Unless you had said anything, I wouldn't have thought about that. What I would have, what I was thinking to myself is how this is really kind of psychedelic.
Do you find it engaging?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that,
Absolutely stirring. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was
But
trying to
this,
do. At least I was trying to get paint something that would be quite engaging to people, and I've been told by people that they found it engaging also.
yes, well, the blue, the royal blue or the near royal blue, it just commands your attention.
Yeah,
And then the eyes and the spirals. That's at least my approach to it. The blue, then the eyes, then the spirals. So I say hats off to you
all
because you
right,
certainly did. Yeah, you certainly did captivate me and catch my eye.
all
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you
The
so much
other,
for your comment.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for sharing your work. The other painting, the red and black, I have a question about it. Carolyn, can we go to that one?
Do you see it now?
Oh, you know what? I forgot my computer is lagging. No,
Okay.
I'll probably see it in a few seconds.
Okay,
But I
but
do
it's
remember what.
yeah. I'm
Hmm?
showing it to everyone. They can see it,
I didn't
right?
hear
Can
you.
everybody see it? Mario, can you see it? The painting that she's talking about?
I don't know if you meant the 3D red and white or the
Yeah, the
2D one.
3D.
Oh, the
No,
3D
the
one
2D.
shows
The
to see.
2D with the
Yeah,
blue,
this one.
with the
Yeah,
blue
the
background.
red
Yeah,
and black one with white. Uh-huh.
you're red and black. That's right,
Yeah.
red and black.
Yeah.
Um, I have a question. What I'm
Yes.
thinking of, oh, I don't see it again. I don't see it. It'll be back around, I guess.
Okay.
There's a triangle and there's a round shape that looks like the globe. And what I think may be the shape of the continent of either South America or Africa. And it looks like all of this, the triangle, um, the rectangles, and the what I think is a globe, it all looks like the solar system and it's expanding and moving. That's how I'm seeing it. Did you intend for the circle to be like the shape of the globe of Earth with perhaps the shape of one of the continents in it?
Yeah, the thing is, this happens a lot in my work. I start uh, remembering shapes and functions and colors, and I start putting them down. And then I didn't realize that at first, but then I knew that looks like Brazil or in Argentina in the globe, and that's exactly where I grew up. So it comes out if it's not consciously, unconsciously. It
Yeah.
happens a lot to me.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that triangle right next to the circle, what
Yeah,
I think is the globe. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's appealing to the eye.
There's something to that because once I did an abstract painting, uh, and I was mixing shapes and colors, and all of a sudden I stepped back and I saw in the painting the view of a face of a man who was scared and angry at certain things he saw in society, and it pretty much reflected my feelings. So, and then another time, I was doing the same thing, making shapes and colors, and it looked like a guy pensive, eating, thinking really deep thoughts. So it happens to me a lot. Like a lot of stuff comes out in my art.
Yeah. 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 Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm. I'm going to back it out so
Wow.
we
So it
can
sounds
see.
like you're channeling in your artwork, and then when you step back, you see something that I guess you weren't necessarily intending to paint. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to get
Okay.
all
Thank
three of
you.
you. Very good. Thank you, Andrea, for those comments and questions.
yeah.
So these are Wendy's pieces here. Wendy, which one would you like to begin talking about first?
Um,
You have these three pieces, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
The one on the right.
Okay, this one then. The blessings of liberty.
Yes.
Okay.
To me, in the flag, there's a, what do you call it? Equality hand and a liberty hand. And the mosaic on the right is supposed to be an integration of the human being in the flag. Uh, it's mosaics. I don't know if you could tell that, but
Yeah, let me, I'm
sorry.
sorry. Yeah, right here, right? These
Yes,
mosaics.
yes.
Okay.
And then it's supposed to be a Liberty Bell, and all the people are holding hands and yelling, "Yay!" Screaming, "We're free! We're free!" But you're supposed to imagine that by
Uh-huh.
the hands being raised up and being children and everyone, all of every kind of human being,
Mhm.
feeling the fact that we're finally free. We're finally free um, in America and
Mhm.
throughout the world
Cool. Now
where there are injustices.
this shape is like a profile of a person, right?
Yes, it
Let's
is.
see.
It's
Yeah,
it's a
okay, and
mixture
this
of
is
mix.
ellipse.
It's mosaic with
Okay,
it's supposed to be integration of a person, all
okay,
colors. Yeah,
right. Okay. And then
yeah,
this one is spelling out we the people.
right, right, and kind of a flag that is kind of etched, and all the people are wearing red, white, and blue hats, and again they're celebrating equality, one and for all. And what do you call it? That we are all equal and we all have deserve to vote and all have the right to uh, whatever, every individual has a right to be free.
Mhm.
We the
And you have
people.
a
We the
and you
people,
have a
mosaic.
right. And you have a butterfly in here as well.
Yes, that's supposed to be a symbol of, butterfly is like a symbol of freedom.
Uh-huh.
And being
Okay.
able to finally, you know, like from a cocoon to a butterfly, you kind of metamorphosis.
Right.
People are undergoing change, and slowly and finally, they're reaching what they wanted to reach. That took so long, and now that's why the butterfly.
Cool, cool. And the last one here.
Yeah, that's the integration of humanity, of people, where we
Uh-huh.
all combine, and
Uh-huh.
it's an abstract. It's almost looks like continent on the right, actually,
Uh-huh.
and it's supposed to be kind of like uh, an instability, but an integration at the same time, and where we all are molding slowly into each other and being able to have what we want desire, and it's kind of a static because it's not smooth taking. It was a long time to take for this to happen uh, in people's lives when they were not free till they became free.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And then you have these vertical lines at the bottom. Did they represent people themselves, or
Well,
is that
and to me, they represent kind of like a barrier,
okay.
a barrier like where they, were. I don't know how to explain that.
Like a
Where
fence? Like a
yes,
fence?
like a fence where they have to then, reach the other side to where
Okay.
they became, integrated. It's
Okay.
a little fence.
Cool. All right. Let me back out here and opening up to questions and comments from the audience.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any comment for Wendy about her works or questions?
Mm.
I have one really quick.
Yes.
Wendy, I really enjoy the glass pieces that you have here in the blessings. right? And also here in the We the People one, right? These pieces here.
Yeah,
Do
the
you,
mosaics.
right. And then these pieces here that look like hats, even though they're red, white, and blue, really cool.
Right.
And you know, so it's very whimsical as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Do you, and I know that you just recently started using the mosaics.
Mhm.
Can you talk about your transition from the pure paint to objects on the canvas, or were you doing that all along and you just
No, this is something.
revisited it?
No, I just got the inspiration and desire to do something different, and
Okay.
to to piece each little piece separately, because it takes a lot of time to do uh, the mosaic. And I
Mhm.
thought that I wanted to transition from constantly doing acrylics. And then I picked up some hats that I saw online, and I
Uh-huh.
wanted to have them stand out with the people. And also their clothing is supposed
Mhm.
to be striped. I don't know
Yeah.
if you could see it,
Yeah, I
but
can see the
flag.
closing. Yeah.
And yeah, so that's a new thing I have been doing. And I not only I've been doing it for another exhibition. All my artwork was mosaics,
Okay.
so it's just something new that I've started, and I feel it brings something out where,
Mhm.
like, we the people, something more striking
Right.
and
Okay.
awakening the audience than if I painted it. I thought by all the mixed colors and mosaics and the little hats
Mhm.
draws the audience in more to you know get them to see what the painting's about.
Cool. Cool. Very lovely. Thank you, Wendy, for
Okay.
sharing, for telling us about those. And does anyone have any other questions or comments that you'd like to ask Wendy about her artwork?
Yes, I do. Hi, Wendy. Good to see your
Hi. Good.
hat.
Oh, thank you. That's my
For the
signature.
yes, yes. For the We the People piece, what size is that?
It's
How big is it?
I think it's 16 by 20.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, the butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
what you said about the butterfly and your whole, I guess, point, I would say, of the artwork, which is the people are celebrating and cheering because it's been a long time coming.
Right.
And you use the butterfly to symbolize that
Oh,
to chrysalis and then to butterfly, that that's really stirring.
thanks. Thank you.
And I dig the vision. I dig the vision
Mm-hmm.
because that's something that I'm going to consider
Mm-hmm.
now
Thank you.
in these next days and months and possibly years. This vision that you have, that it's a long time coming, but we're getting closer to it, and pretty soon
Mm-hmm.
it'll be here.
Mhm.
Pretty soon it'll be here. I
Well,
wonder if you are, I wonder if you consider doing that as a poster because this is just one of a kind. Is that right?
yes, it's one of a kind. Only I don't know how to do a poster. Maybe I don't know how to do that.
Okay. Okay.
I would need a
Well,
graphic artist,
maybe I can. Oh, okay. All right.
I think.
I'm thinking just basically get a good picture of it
Okay.
and um, get a really good photo of it. Maybe a
Okay.
photographer if you're not,
Okay.
um, that expertise in photography. I'm not, but I would really like to have that um, as some posters to share with others.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I'll have
Can
to
I
do
ask a
some.
question?
Yes.
Yeah, Mario.
Yes, I was going to say the idea of a butterfly. Do you feel that it reflects something of you, that you picked a butterfly who's just flopping around or something? Usually, butterflies just flop around and they don't disturb anything. They're very sweet and gentle. Do you feel like that reflects on your character, or you didn't intend to do anything of that?
Well, I feel that I've more like the cocoon, and that I've changed, that I'm transitioning all the
Oh,
time in my artwork as a human being also. And see, the flag is not regular stripes. It's like zigzagging, like
Right.
until like the butterfly. It's like that's the transition totally of America is the butterfly, not the American flag. No insult or anything, but it's that's why the stripes are not straight, and the people are cheering because there is transition and there is hope, and they've overcome so much in so much time. But maybe it is a feeling of peace finally, and a feeling of kind of a, I don't know the word, resurrection. Is that the wrong word? Of uh, almost like a new world, a new life. I don't know, a blessing. I, I
oh,
don't know how
thank
to
you so
describe
much
it.
for that, for what you said.
Yeah, thank you for giving me your opinions. Um, you're a graphic artist. Do you think I could send a picture and you could help me make a poster?
Uh, uh, I can I can go to Staples and get some posters done. If you send me a picture from here, from New York City, I'm from New York City. I can go to
Oh,
my local Staples, and
oh,
they have some fine quality print.
oh.
And I could get something like 10 posters,
Okay,
and maybe you can pay me later, or maybe you don't even have to because they charge so little there. I'll mail them to We the People if you want.
okay. And then they could be sent to me or sent to uh, the woman that would like one of the posters or a couple of them.
Yeah.
If that,
Yes, it sounds good. It sounds
Sounds
good.
great. Yeah. Cool.
if you want me to pay you, how am I going to pay you?
How about
Oh,
this? How about if we talk about the economics after the talk?
Okay,
Each of
okay,
you have each other's contact information, right? So you can do
okay. Sorry.
transactional discussion. Oh no, that's
Okay,
okay. But it's good. You see, it's good to come to these so you can meet each other and
okay.
get ideas from each other and ask for support from each other. And it's wonderful that you're doing that. I'm really
Uh,
appreciative. I love
is there going to
listening.
be another We the People exhibition after this one?
Who knows? Who knows? I called it We the People 2025. Whenever I put a year after our shows, it's me saying in a way that this is just going to be one of many. But I couldn't tell you when the next one would be. It could be 2026, it could be 2027. But we have shows every year that discuss so many large issues.
uh-huh.
We started this because it was a presidential year, and because no matter who won, I was hoping that everyone would remember the first three words of the preamble to the United States of America, which the preamble is really the whole purpose of the Constitution of the United States of America. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so I have on that page, and I'll since I'm sharing my screen.
But is there going to be an exhibition next year?
There might be. I
You
can't
think?
guarantee it. But you were asking, did you have an idea?
Yeah, I developed a new style using 3D shapes, all 3D shapes, and people tell me it looks really impressive, very engaging, impressive, curious, and I wonder if I should submit anything next year.
Well, sure, sure. You wait for the artist call, but you see, this is the preamble, right? And I have it on the page where our official website is, right? It's artimpactinternational.org, we the people, right? And so here I have it here, the preamble, right? And if you click on that, you'll come to the preamble. I helped this organization, Citizens Academy US, put this book together, right? And this is all it is. It gives you the definition of each and every word in the preamble, right? See the preamble, they give you the whole thing, and then they take it word by word, what the preamble means, what we means. We means all of you together with other people, right? All of you. And then the people here, that explains what when the Constitution of the United States was written, they're using the definitions of that time, of that era. And the people meant this. It meant the people, not the kings and the queens and the monarchies. It meant the commoners, the people, right? So we the people, right? And it's in order to, so it goes through every last word of it, perfect union. And here, for the preamble, it's a more perfect human. I'll go to the end. You all have access to this. I didn't make it a requirement to read the whole thing, but I was hoping that you guys would, right? And to ourselves, posterity, ordain, constitute, constitution, unite, state, preamble. Oh, that's what I was going back towards, preamble here. See, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, there's no thing as perfection really, but you can go towards it. You can have a more perfect union. So even back in the day, they were saying, how long will the democracy last? We don't know, but that this has come together as a constitution in order to form a more perfect union, right? The states did not want to be a union altogether. Some of them didn't, right? But they came together, all 13 colonies, and they did form the United States. So the fact that we the people happened, we the people art exhibition, the idea was taken out of the fact that this was a very contentious, it felt like a very divided United States. So I was trying to remind people, why the Constitution, why the country had come together. And it did start with we, all of us, Black, white, old, young, right? Joanne, did you stayed very quiet for the most part. Do you have any feedback or any questions for any of the artists?
I stayed quiet because I was so enjoying what they had to say.
Uh-huh.
And I guess the thing that I really like is the diversity. I mean, you see the universe as extremely diverse. There's so many different kinds of flowers, so many different kinds of animals, so many different kinds of worms, and it's hard to understand that people don't just joy out for diversity in all the people, because that we're part of the universe. We're all us, and I see that in all the art.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Dondrea, actually, is Dondrea here? I know, see, there she is, Dondrea. Okay, I can't leave you out because we have your poem that you did, right?
Yes,
Right.
we sure
Okay.
do. And I was hoping to circle back. I was hoping to circle back to Hubert's piece,
Okay.
if we have time.
Yeah, we
I
have
just
time.
wanted to say that the that he included on there, and the surprises that you all talked about on the painting, such as the bullets. I didn't realize those were bullets. And the idea that they're authentic, um, that is really, to me, a work of art when people consider using those types of materials in their artwork that relate so closely to, of course, the topic of the artwork and the point of the artwork.
Right.
Just on a lighter side of things, I wanted to share that my son, many years ago, when we were talking about Robert Smalls, he's 21 now, but he was maybe in his mid-teens or so. He looked at the picture of Robert Smalls and he said, "Oh my goodness, he looks like Jordan Peele." And I'm just wondering if maybe anyone else has seen the actual photo of Robert Smalls, and would they agree? But Hubert, I really appreciate that painting. And if anything, Robert Smalls and the Planters truly puts me in the mind of the song "Lift Every Voice and Sing."
Yeah.
I hear it when I look at the painting, and because it seems to me that it's painted
Mm-hmm.
in that
Mm-hmm.
spirit that combines a spiritual anthem with just a little bit of a romantic view of
Mm-hmm.
something that was very tumultuous and dangerous, perilous,
Mm-hmm.
but they got through it and were able to celebrate. And that's what Lift Every Voice and Sing puts me in the mind of. And that's what the painting does. So I'm glad we had a few minutes for me to
Yeah.
circle back to that.
And
Thank you.
I'm happy to do that, Andrea. I just realized that you had two other pieces in the show as well. And these are entitled USCT Couple, the United States Colored Troops. And these are honoring the wives, right? That
Yes.
they had to leave their family, the colored troops to fight in the war. Do you want to say just a couple of things about this, Hubert? Forgive me for not having pointed these out before. I was just so enthralled of your newest piece. Yeah. Hubert?
I've seen photographs of, can you hear me?
Yes.
Photographs of at the end of the Civil War of troops who went home to their families, and many times it was wife and kids. A lot of them did not return, but I wanted to highlight couples that remained together even after the end of the Civil War. So that's what
Cool.
these paintings are about.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. This is a collaboration now. Presley Williams isn't here on the talk today, but this is his piece called Round Midnight. And this is really honoring, this one is a piece, let me just pull it up so you can see the information here, of Thelonious Monk playing the piano, right? But he and Dundrea came together and agreed to do a collaboration, which is her poem superimposed on his artwork. And then we have the actual poem. I hope that this is the actual. Yeah.
Vows in moon indigo. One made me blue as the heavens over Harlem,
on the block where Romare put people together without facades in that mecca of jazz. Refugees. Two made me blue like a velvet drape over Ellington's late piano. But that dearly departed A train, like its custodian, a secular saint, still stirs in the solar system of uptown Saturday nighters after night, in Minton's Ever After. Never realized how transient the color blue can be between a couple of moon rises and moon sets round midnight. Round midnight, when you can see Thelonious in one of them funky spear hats round midnight.
All right. So let me end that. Okay, so that was D'Andrea's poem that she had written and narrated for us in this show. D'Andrea, do you want to talk a little bit about your poem in collaboration with Prelly?
Certainly. The collaboration came about as I was looking through some of the artwork of Prelly Williams, who by the way, I did say that I hail from Harlem, but I'm actually a Marylandite now. I live in Maryland. And Prelly is one of the local artists down here in the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And he had just done a portrait of a mutual friend of ours. And I did see it. And from the portrait, I clicked onto his website and looked through his artwork. And I saw the painting of Thelonious Monk, and it just really actually just stirred me so that I immediately thought of a poem that I have. And knowing that there was an open call for artists for the We the People exhibit, I contacted Prelly and asked him if he would like to collaborate. And he was more than glad, and I'm so glad as well. The poem Vows in Moon Indigo celebrates in the poem itself the artwork and some of the historically relevant to African American culture, which is jazz, blues, blues, jazz, and funk. And the people who I mention in the poem, one, for instance, is Romare Bearden. He did a lot of artwork in collage, through the medium of collage, that celebrated blues music and jazz music. Duke Ellington, if anyone here is familiar with some of his work, one of his most famous songs is The A Train, that was written by him and Billy Strayhorn, another composer. And then you have Thelonious Monk. And actually, the part that has Monk's name in it in the poem, where I say in Minton's and Ever After, and at midnight, around midnight, you can see Thelonious in one of those funky spear hats. That wasn't even there. I added that. I added that at the very last minute before I submitted it for the artwork in collaboration with Prelly. The poem itself is a lament. And I was actually lamenting some experiences that I've had in life that actually put me in the mood of blues, that gave me the blues. And So one afternoon, while I was lamenting the experiences I had, I just thought to myself, one of these experiences made me blue, like a sky blue, a happy blue, and the other made me blue as one would grieve death, which is why I say like a velvet drape over Ellington's late piano. The point of the poem itself is to lament some grief, some sadness, and then pick the mood up like blues and jazz and funk does. They have sometimes a flavor of grief, sometimes a flavor of lamenting, and then they pick the mood up. And that was my point of the poem, to express just some lamentation and then do some healing, self-healing. And the title Vows and Moon Indigo refers to the idea that I was lamenting that I'd been married twice. And the first ended sadly, he passed, and the second ended in divorce. And both are sad, and both would cause grief and lamenting. However, using the genres of art, Romeo Bearden, jazz, Duke Ellington, and Monk, Thelonious Monk, and then just throwing in the term funk um, through music and art. Um, I use the poem to express sadness and then healing from the sadness. And so that's basically it. That's basically how and why I composed the poem.
Nice, nice. Wow. Please, I feel like the poem is just so beautiful, and I was so happy that you and Preli came together and collaborated on this. So that's why you have the whole wall here, just the two of you here. And thank you for sending me your narrated poem so that we can include that into the presentation of We the People art exhibition. Does anyone that's here have any comments that they'd like to share with D'Andrea about her poem, about their collaboration? Your feedback to the artists are always so valuable. I'm trying to find your everybody who's here. You can unmute yourself and give your feedback.
I find that quite inspiring, and I wrote a poem. I wrote this poem that I really put a lot of feelings down. It took me some while thinking about it. When about my late dad who passed away a few years ago, and the lessons I learned from him. By the way, that's a lot of them showed my artwork. A lot of the stuff I talk about, he taught me, and he was good in art. Also, he was a nuclear physicist, like me. He was a scientist, and he was very good in art. And so I wrote this beautiful poem about him, and maybe I can. If there was any way I could send it to you by email, that would be great.
Cool. You're on mute, Andrea. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Okay, I've got some lag, but yes, sure, absolutely. I'd like to take a look at your work.
Cool, cool. Wendy has her hand up. Thank you, Maria.
Pirelli and DeAndre really combined really a great piece of work. Her poetry, I love the idea of the velvet, the blue velvet. And I can't get it. My thing's not connecting to piece out the poem. I've got a bad connection, so I can't see each verse. But it just really gives the whole process of all the Duke Ellington and all the famous jazz artists and their particular compositions and the mood and the background with the black, like indigo blue, and the stars and the birds in the background really combine well with the piece of art poetry.
Mhm.
It's a really humbling piece, and really is an honor to you and to all those great artists. I think it was a great collaboration with his man playing the piano, like like a real jazz musician.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for
Yeah,
those.
thank you, Wendy. I was absolutely grabbed when I looked at when I looked at Prelly's piece, because I just, I was just zapped by the bop gun, as George Clinton of Funkadelic would say, because he's, the way he has the piano keys, which are huge, and then it looks like, which he does, he has Thelonious Monk coming through a portal, you just appearing on this piano, and he's just there, like he just appeared like a genie. um, and that's what really caught my eye and just really stirred me so. So thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your kind words.
Cool, cool. All right.
Well, thank you for your poetry, and Pirelli for his artwork, great artwork.
Cool, cool. All right. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here because it seems to want to just freeze. Did anybody else have, and Beth Akiyama, she's joined us. Hello, Beth. Nice to have you on the call with us. She might not be she might not hear me, but that's okay. Hi, you've been very quiet. You haven't said much. Do you
I
want
trying
to?
to say I'm going to run out of battery soon. If I go out, I just run out of battery.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So before we wrap up, guys, I just wanted to show you quickly, and I hope that sharing this with you is not going to be a problem with sharing the screen again. It seems like when I'm trying to share the screen, it seems to be doing something like freezing on me. But I did want to show you, first of all, the art catalog is almost done, right? And I just wanted to give you a really quick peek at it, really quick, okay? So because you're so kind to stay with me here, I'm going to show it to you. Now, what do you guys see? Because I'm not even sure which screen you're looking at. Can you see the catalog now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Great. So I'm going to not put it full screen because then I may not be able to show you the whole thing, but let me go this way. And I'm starting from the first pages. And again, it's not totally finished, but this is the table of contents. We've got, it's over 90 pages, right? And all of the artwork is here, and all of the narrative that you guys sent me is here pretty much. Not all of the descriptions yet are here, but I just wanted you to take a quick look at how it's coming along. And this is actually, somehow when I'm looking at it now, it doesn't look exactly the same, but like I said, it's almost done, but you can see that it's very spacious. It's not too cluttered. And each piece usually has its own page, right? Here's Wendy's pieces here. Songu, he's not with us on this call. Janie, this is her pieces, right? And Indra, Mark Rainey. So we have a lot of artists in the show. We have Felicia Reed. Many of them have their works at the galleries in Colonial Beach. Oyemi, who's in UK, he's our Nigerian artist. And Winifred, and here's Prelly's work here. And Jamise, her work is in the galleries as well. And so it's coming up. Okay, so that's something that you all can look forward to being able to grab a copy of it once it's done. Okay. So before we say goodbye, any last words from any of you?
I gotta say thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It
You're
means
welcome.
something to the world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here, Joanne. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I see D'Andrea smiling. Mario, thank you for being here. And Hubert, thank you for your artwork. And Wendy, and Beth, thank you for coming in. And Mario. So, all right, unless you guys have anything more to say, I want to thank you again for being here. And, we'll keep in touch. The show is going to be up online through the end of February, right? Okay. All right, then.
Yes, Carolyn.
Yes.
Carolyn.
Yes, I can hear you.
I just wanted to say thank you. I enjoyed this, but I wanted to point out, if you don't mind, and if she doesn't mind, I see here there were some messages from Kai A or Key A. Is it Kai? Yeah, there were some messages here.
Oh, I see.
From
Yes,
Kai
I see.
yes. She says she doesn't have audio.
Oh,
so
okay.
she typed in.
Yeah, she typed in beautiful artwork. I did not join using a microphone. I am not an artist, but love listening to art discussions. Thank you for allowing me to join this interesting Black History Month event. Very nice. And then, do you ever paint pieces that are not brought on by an experience? And that was a question from Kai. Do you ever paint pieces that are not brought on by an experience? Does anybody want to answer that question for Kai? I'll answer it for me, as I'm an artist as well. I think it's almost impossible to paint a painting that's not brought on by an experience, because to live itself, even if you don't do anything, right, you're experiencing breathing in and out. It's really hard to paint, at least for me, right, to not paint a piece that's not brought on by an experience, even if it's of a memory of something that didn't happen to you per se, but it's still a part of your mind. It's still a part of your experience, even thinking about something, right? Does anybody else have a thought about answering that question? Do you ever paint a piece that are not brought on by an experience? Okay. And then the next question, it looks like, let's see. I'm just going here. Oh, this is for Wendy in the middle piece. They also seem to be standing with their back toward us, except for the last three. Is this so?
Who was the last question for?
The last question was for Wendy.
No, the one before Wendy's.
Oh, before, that was for any of us. That was for any of the artists.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like I said, there's two ways that I express myself through paintings. One is by experiences, and the other one I put something down and I step back and see other things in it. So it could happen either way.
Okay. Cool. I'd like to just add to that for artists who say that they don't have anything in particular in mind, they're just going to paint, and you don't have like a title yet, or you don't know what's going to happen. It's still you, whether it's the you that you know about or the you that you don't know about. It's coming through you, you know. And it's just for sake of your own mind, whether it's superconscious, subconscious, unconscious, there's a consciousness that's there alive, and it's coming through you. Whether or not you can claim authorship, to me, that's more of the ego tripping than it is just your experience as a creature. You know, just, I used to paint with my eyes closed to help me be more authentic or more free, so that my intuition, or the places in me that it's not cut and hidden, you know, from the mind just like yapping away all the time. And I would open my eyes and I would see this artwork, and it made sense, right? And so for me, even if you start a piece and you don't have any conscious idea of what's going to happen, or you're pouring paint and the paint turns into something that you yourself, you give meaning to, it's still yours. It's still yours. It's yours. You know, it's coming from you, right? And the you can be a little you or a big you, whatever name you want to give it, right? But it is your experience, because in that moment of now, hey, it's right there for you to see. So for me to answer that question, it is impossible not to paint out of your own experience. You're communicating your very life. That to me, artists are very brave in that sense, whether they call upon it as being brave or not. You're really giving of yourself, and freely. Sometimes it's out of pain and you just do it for therapeutic reasons, right? And sometimes you do it out of joy. You just want to share and communicate freely. Sometimes you just want to just vomit on the painting and just hide it under the bed to know you got rid of that, you know? Whatever it is, it's still you. It's still coming from you. Even if you try to copy somebody else's work, you can't copy it because it's still coming from you, you know? So anyway, I'll stop getting on my pulpit here and preaching.
And thank you so much for your comment.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. I try to facilitate these discussions, but sometimes, you know, like this moment, it comes on me that, hey, I got to share what's inside of me too, for your benefits as well. So thank you. Thank you for that acknowledgement. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to that question? Because it's a good question. So I hope Kai is still here. Yes, she is. She doesn't have her thing, but I'm happy, Kai, that you asked that question. I see Andrea smiling. All right. And she has a question for Hubert. I don't know if Hubert is still here, but let's see what it was. The painting is extraordinary. I missed to talk about it. Do you have information that I can look up online about your paintings? And the answer to that is yes, that it's actually if I pulled up the what do you call it? If I pulled up the exhibit again, you can see a lot of the information is there. A lot of it is there. But if you Google Robert Smalls, you'll get the story of Robert Smalls, because there's a lot of information to be had about him and his journey through freeing himself and his family and friends.
Well, Carolyn, thank you so much. I did want to say that we didn't get a chance to see your artwork, and are we out of time?
Oh, you know what? I forgot I was in the I forgot. Okay, okay. Let me do that really quick. And thank you for bringing that up. To me, this is more about you guys than me, but you did bring that up. So let me go back and just to show so you can sort of see the piece. But this is my first and only quilt that I did. And this one is entitled, and I'll tell you now. It's just entitled Love, right? Click on there. Love, Dimensions of Being series. And this is done in 2016. I've never shown this piece. This is the first time I'm actually showing it, right? And this was again my first quilt, and I did hand sew the beads and the pearls and all the jewels, and I bought a sewing machine just to do this. And so that was that piece there. And this one is entitled Justice 3. This is Mayat. Mayat is one of the Egyptian goddesses who represents justice in the Egyptian culture. And the feather, you've seen a lot of the Egyptian goddesses with this feather on their headdress. And this feather is what is supposedly used when a person passes on to weigh their heart against this feather. And if their heart is heavier than the feather, then that means that they didn't live a pure life, right? So that's this very simple symbol of having a light heart, right? And living a good life, and not one that you wouldn't feel that was ethical or just or good, right? So I did a lot of Egyptian, I should say, I sort of learned the Egyptian symbols and studied them, and I just was enthralled with these different symbols, and this was just one of them. And this is an encaustic piece here with 24 by 24 as far as the dimensions go. And then the last piece that I did that's in the show, let me go back to them. They're sort of like all over the place here. These were little pieces, and these all represent the idea of change, these three, and they all mean the same thing. It's just every moment changes. There's no two moments that's the same. And I did these pieces, I did 5 of them, and I prepared each one of them with the same ingredients. And I did them as quickly as I could to see if I could catch the same moment. And obviously, no. You see, they're all quite very different. And these were done with, I'll tell you here, this is on cotton rag. This is a G-clay actually, because this is a print of the originals. So what's in the show that's on the wall at the gallery are the prints, but the originals have all sold already except one, which I have. And so these are embellished in caustics, and the paper that was original was handmade paper. So, and they're all 3, right? All of them are all from the series called Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See, here's one, another one. You see, it's the same. It's like the ocean. There's no ocean wave that's the same as the other ocean wave. Every wave is different. And in a way, that's what I was capturing here, ocean waves. And even the leaves, there's no 2 leaves the same, no matter what. And there are no 2 human beings the same. We're all different. And as Joanne was saying, there's so much abundance and diversity and differences in the world. It's just a multitude of this crescendo of life. Can't we all get along and enjoy each other's uniqueness, right? So that's how I put here. And I thought it made sense, as we the people, we are all different. And it should be glorious. Who wants to be a carbon copy of the other person? You should be so happy that you like your own fingerprints. Even you don't even have the same fingerprint on your 10 fingers, which belong to you. So there's just no shortage of creativity, right? So this one is called The Sleep of Mankind. It's an old piece. This I did in undergraduate school in University of Florida. And I have the actual similar piece to this done in glass. And that was in the exhibit last night at the DuPont Circle. It was, a stained glass piece. And the sleep of mankind just represents, these are the suns, and each of these suns represent at least 1,000 years. And this gentleman who's lying down here, he was actually a model in our drawing class, but I took the drawing and I turned it into, 4 paintings and 1 stained glass piece. And here's the sleep of mankind just represents that we are asleep to our own greatness. And you see, he's dressed as a king with the king's headdress and his fine clothing and his jewels, right? And his wonderful pillow, which is like a big pumpkin or like food. There's food, there's water, there's the sands of time, which is water actually. And each of these are the years that go by, and the suns and the hills, and just time, the waves of time. But no matter what, we remain asleep. We remain asleep to our own greatness. And because of that, I believe we just hurt each other wanting to grab and take. But if we really knew all the greatness that we had already, there'd be no reason to go grabbing after it and hurting other people. So that was my whole theme here in this piece, The Sleep of Mankind. We're beautiful, but sometimes we don't even realize that we're beautiful, that we're full, that we have so much already, right? And unfortunately, because of that sleep, it's like a sleepwalker with a knife, hurting themselves sometimes and others, right? So that's the whole philosophy, if you will, behind this painting, which was done in 1992 as you sleep, right? And this was an oil painting, and it was my mother who purchased this painting. She was one of the first art collectors for me. She's the first one, so that's it. So thank you, Dondrea, for reminding me that I also was in the show. So I want to thank you. Unless anybody has anything to tell me what you thought about my pieces in the exhibition. Please feel free to give me feedback, critique. I am all ears.
Well, I'd like to start it off by saying the sleep of mankind is just absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
That's the only way I can describe it. It's so gorgeous to the eye. The earth tones, which I love. I love earth tones. The earth tones and the movement, the way you created movement and lighting with the brighter shades and just blending them um, so well and so soothingly. I can see how one can sleep on this shore.
Yeah.
It's so soothing and lulling.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd also like to ask you, with reference to the previous pieces, the three pieces that were on handmade paper, did you make the paper yourself?
No, I didn't
Oh,
make the paper, but I did choose the paper. Right. I
okay.
did
All
choose the
right.
paper because it was, in an art supply store that I love their handmade paper, but and it's the Chinese rice paper, right? With the embedded leaves in it. And
Oh,
one of the first art pieces that I did was a leaf as a child, right? And let me see if I can bring it up again. I hate to talk about stuff that we're not actually looking at. So let me do that. Okay, so right, these have leaves in them and gold leaf also. So yeah, so this handmade paper was not by me, but it was by another artist that I took that on and collaged it, if you will, onto the board. This is on wood, right? And then I put the wax over it and so forth. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
um,
And then
Beth Akiyama. She
yeah.
says that she says hi all, and she had technical difficulties, so she's just
Oh,
observing from a
okay.
computer. And she says that everyone has done fantastically. She said, "Fantastic, everyone."
Very good. Thank you, Beth. Thank you. And Beth is actually the director of the National Affairs Office of the Church of Scientology in Washington, D.C. Remember, D'Andrea, when you visited the Fraser Mansion? You were there for I think it was for December for the DuPont.
Okay,
Remember at the Fraser building?
okay.
That's yeah,
Oh, all right,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
Beth is the
And Beth
executive
was the
director there.
interpreter. No,
No,
pardon me. You said executive director. Pardon me.
she's
Oh,
like
okay.
she's the head hunch over there. So it was wonderful. And they also allowed us to have our shows there as well. A beautiful building. Yesterday we had over 350 people attend that DuPont
Wow,
Circle show. It was wonderful. We had 6 artists there. And it really went well. So
fantastic.
yeah, great. All right. All right, guys. It was a great art talk and everything. I'm glad that you could make it. And you have a rest of the weekend. Have a wonderful Sunday tomorrow and the rest of this evening. Okay, so signing off then.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
I
Good night.
enjoyed this evening with you. Thank you, Carolyn.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, bye-bye, Wendy. Bye, Joanne. Bye, Kai and Beth. Thank you.